Rafah, where your problems are answered. Today I've got a letter here from a Linda who writes into me saying that she's had a relationship for 2 years with this guy and has been recently very much arguing and fighting with him. And in the result of fighting for a while, they have decided to mutually, by mutual agreement, decide to split up. Now 6 months down the line, she's actually finding herself having regular sex with him and is wondering and beginning to question whether her separation was a mistake. So Linda, let me tell you something about what happens clearly. And you don't mention your age in your letter. You don't tell me how old you are. So it's kind of sometimes difficult to sort of really know where people are in their own timeline of the relationship or personal evolution, because the older we get, the more wiser we become and the more we don't do certain things, and you kind of learn. But I'm going to assume that this is a kind of like a 30-year-old, 30-year-old thing, possibly maybe a bit younger, because I'd like to think that somebody older might have already nailed this one. And what you really need to have done to begin with is to have found out together from each other what your life preferences, choices would have been, maybe what your goals are, maybe what your life visions are, and you would have found that that would have met. Time and time again, I have met people who have got together and say the woman wants a child and the guy has been very clear that he's been married before, is not interested, he's got two, 3 other children from his previous marriage, but she chooses to ignore that very important fact for herself and thinks, well, he probably changed his mind down the line and I'll just carry on and just give it a shot because he'll love me by then. He'll love me so much by then. He'll give in to what I want and what I need. Now, ladies, let me tell you something. That is very unlikely to happen. Rest assured, if a man says something right from the beginning that he's not into, be it kids, marriage, or some of these big, important life choices, it is going to be quite unlikely, I'd say 99%, that he will not waver and change his mind. So you are already setting yourself up for disappointment. And this goes for anything. If your deal breaker is somebody who doesn't do any drugs, doesn't do any drinking, doesn't do any smoking, or I don't know, rest assured that you are going to be tested out on this, and you'll meet somebody who will have some kind of habit possibly, or something that you don't really like or want, and have to deal with it if you've fallen in love with them and find that they've got the very thing that you really would much rather avoided. I remember when I was in my mid-30s, met some guy, and I was very clear about not wanting to go out with somebody who'd been married before and had a child. Well, lo and behold, what does the universe send me? A man who I grew to like very much, who was actually a friend of mine, and we started getting involved. But he had a son, Alex, from his previous marriage. And now, of course, I grew to love his son, and he was more than welcome in our home. But to begin with, that was a real issue for me. But I also say this and I share this because sometimes we might have a certain kind of thinking that stops us from getting involved with somebody because we're too attached at the idea of how somebody should be, look like, how much money they should be making, what kind of professions they should be in, and all that. And that could actually get in the way of meeting the right partner. And then let me tell you something else. What makes a right partner? And these are the questions you need to be really asking yourself. Because somebody who has a right partnership for you would be the kind of the values, the sense of feeling of what's really important. And I think this is where you really need to go from. Now, the other thing that I feel like I need to point out is that you are wondering whether your separation is a mistake. I have a feeling that it's not a mistake, okay? And I will start there. Because something in you, let's go for this one. Something in you received a sense of feeling that this is your insight, okay? This is the ideas that flow down and that we ground in life, okay? It tends to come, and for the sake of this, it comes from the crown chakra, all right? What you're now absolutely doing with your ex is you're engaging with him sexually on a primal level. This is a very primal sexual level. What you also haven't told me, Linda, is the fact that you've not mentioned the word love in your connection with him. This is where love and real relationship bonding happens. The heart space, okay, very important. You need to have the heart connection. The other area also that's very important in an intimate, around the intimacy, is your, let's go a bit more orange, is the sacral chakra. Okay, this is sacral, which is where the intimate level of sexual pleasure bonding happens. This is a very important facet of a very good sexual connection that you can have with your partner, be it a man, woman, and woman, man, 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 whatever, but this is where it is, okay? Our sexual presence is connected through the sacral chakra. With the root chakra here, okay, this is our sense of belonging. So I have a feeling that in terms of the chakras, say, because as you know, for those who've been watching regularly, know that I do the chakras as the healing modality and an area where you can strengthen and learn to manage yourself and balance and harmonize things that have gone off kilter, if you like. Now, because your relationship is broken up, or you've broken the relationship by mutual agreement, you both would probably have a vulnerable solar root chakra. Okay, that's your grounding. You've been together for 2 years and that is now gone. You're connecting on that level, no doubt, but also I think a full sense of attachment through the sacral chakra. Okay, for the sake of here, I'm just going to do like so in this area. Okay, and here as well, which is your root chakra. It is a very difficult thing to break off. My other chakra I want to bring into is, I think you need to really honor what you decided to do, which is you're owning your power here. All right, this is your solar plexus. You need to have firmer boundaries, I feel, and this would be really help you, because when we break up from a relationship, you do need to have a clean break in order to be able to distance yourself sexually and energetically and also aurically around a person. It's not an easy thing just to break off, any more than people think that can just have casual sex time and time again, or just get involved very casually left, right and center. They do not realize that you are in fact connecting on a very sexual level and carrying the sexual connection or the energetics of somebody. Okay, so here we have the sexual connection, but what we don't realize is we'll end up carrying an energy. So say you met somebody and thought, oh God, he's really great, and then you were totally drunk, but he could be a very negative man, okay, very negative. And then you can actually feel, have you ever done that? You sat on a bus somewhere and you've taken somebody's seat, or on a train, and you sit on this seat and you just feel something's like, ugh. Well, this is what happens sometimes also on a sexual level. Okay, you do not know what kind of energy you are exchanging with somebody, and it is so important that you get this. I think sex has been so easily available, so made possible, that people haven't really thought about the consequences of a sexual connection and what it leaves in somebody. So somebody who bed hops a lot or needs their emotional life pampered by the idea that by sleeping with somebody on a regular basis, or various partners, that they're doing themselves favors, I can reassure you that it's a very egotistical connection you're having with yourself, and you'll be very cut off from your heart. Your heart must be very damaged and wounded for that to be happening, for you not to be engaged, and you'll be just engaging on a primal level, and really, this is power here, a sense of power that's on the negative. But I'm kind of shifting away from your problem here. So let me bring it back to point. I would say that maybe what you should have done to begin with was find out what life visions you both had and what choices or what you were into. Now, you can actually have a relationship too that is quite different from each other's life preferences and stuff. But when you actually connect on the heart level, you'll find that you can actually still enjoy each other's company. You can still love each other very much and have differences. And I'm wondering if that is something you're beginning to notice and that you need. The other thing I would also say is the fact that you haven't mentioned that you loved him and you want something very different from him, but you keep on getting into bed with him. in order for you to establish the idea of getting back to him and going back with him, or maybe the separation being a mistake, I would suggest first thing you really need to do is cut away the sexual connection. All right, you really need to disengage from that straight away. You know, get some distance away from you, have some space, I would say, you know, where you can actually maybe just begin to enjoy your own company first, and maybe do things that you weren't able to do because you were living with him and in a relationship with him. Because that's another thing, you don't say that you were actually living with him, but I'm going to assume that you have been, because most people do. These days you just kind of live together straight away. You don't date, you don't really court anymore, you know, all these things really had a place in getting together with somebody. So I'd say I would do that first. So that is the first bit. So I would actually end up falling in love with yourself first, getting your power back, okay, here, and then beginning to bring some pleasure for your own sake. So that might be going to have a spa, maybe going to enjoy a sort of, you know, a movie, or enjoy going to a nice pastry shop and enjoying a piece of cake that you might not have had. You know, really start stimulating your mind, you know, and then start actually also connecting with your spirit here, because this is where you first got the initial feeling for, even by mutual agreement, where you both found that there was a discord of ideas and thoughts, okay? This is also the third eye here, quite important. So somewhere along the way you've realized that there was a lack of connection maybe with what you want together in the long term, and you're quite right, because in order for that to happen, it has to be grounded from the higher level all the way down to be able to become manifest and grounded in on the earthly plane. Okay, so whatever we want, we start thinking about the idea, we confirm that that's what we want, and then we see it materialize in front of us. Okay, so it could be wanting a car. Oh great, I want a car. What kind of car? Oh, I want it to look like this, that color and stuff. And then you start actually, you know, putting your power into earning the money here, you know, and generating, and you bring the car into reality. And same with relationships and everything else. So I would suggest that you actually get yourself together first, question what you really want, be absolutely certain with that, take some time out, rather than thinking your separation was a mistake. I don't feel at this point it is a mistake. The mistake would be for you to rush back into the relationship, because you would find the very things that really annoyed you to be even more irritating. It sounds like you're not willing to negotiate, both of you, the changes together. Sometimes actually a bit of time out will bring you back together, because you both realize actually what we had was a really good thing, and we were very quick to decide that we weren't really up for being together because of our differences. So time will tell. Okay, but my answer to you with the question that you really presented right at the end of your letter was this separation a mistake? And I'd say, Linda, no. And anybody else in that same situation, when you feel inspired to end a relationship because something does not match your truth or your value system, or really kind of fulfill you in the long term, and you know it's not going to fulfill you in the long term, I'd say stop wasting time, break off, cut the cords, which is another important point here. You need to cut the cords. Okay, we get cord energy, all right, you know, which is what has us bring back into a relationship. So you really want to cut the cord, which is just on an energy level, and you will find that you'll be less inclined and drawn to go back to him and the relationship, and perhaps bring all the energy back to yourself, where you can start finding out who you really are, what you really love, and be open to meeting somebody new who will meet your life vision and your values and what you want in a relationship. So I hope this helps everybody, whoever's in this situation. Do listen to your own truth and see if that would match before you get involved. I'm going to leave it here for now. Bye for now, and you can get the extended card reading, which I do for this Vimeo and this problem answered through card reading as well on Vimeo. And also I will put out a meditation, a chakra sound, color visualization, vibrational sound, and mantras to help Linda and anybody else in this position as well, to be able to cut the cords in this instance, to perhaps feel your heart in a way that's compassionate and forgiveness for maybe allowing yourself to get involved with somebody for so long that really didn't fit your truth. And what else can I say? For you, honoring yourself really, and then really kind of connecting on a very deeper relationship that gives you the value of real intimacy, rather than a primal connection that you are engaging with as an afterthought and as an after debris thing in a relationship. You deserve better and you can have better. So I'll leave it for now. Bye for now, and I will see you soon. I'm actually going to be away for a while, so I can't guarantee I'm going to be able to post up weekly for a few weeks. But if you'd like to stay posted, subscribe so you can see when my next vlog will enter and be uploaded onto YouTube. Thanks a lot. Bye.